Yeah. Trouble. All right. I'm live here today with the Exit Your Way Business Roundtable with Jeffrey Graham. And we're going to be talking a little bit about why businesses, if they haven't considered it before now, should be considering going online or increasing their digital efforts. So, Jeff, first of all, it's great to have you. Wonderful seeing you again. Can you tell me a little bit about yourself and just kind of what got you to working in the digital space and helping people sell there?
Yeah, it's been an interesting ride. Early on in my career, in my sales career, I sold my first website back in like 2005. I was actually looking at that recently, and
Wow.
Just going through this Google, when Google first admitted AdWords, and all the changes and all the evolutions, and then of course starting my own consulting firm over 6 years ago. And then, of course, we met and working with you, and that was great and a lot of fun. So it allowed us to just continue to build and grow e-commerce business, multi-channel e-commerce companies, marketplaces like Amazon, all these kinds of big players. So, yeah, I mean, ultimately, it just kind of evolved into digital. It wasn't necessarily my first, I just want to go into the digital space. More or less, sales just kind of moved there. And so we have to adjust or die, as they say. So
yeah. So when you look back, there's a couple of things about that's interesting. When you look back at your sales before and you think about e-commerce now, is e-commerce sales harder, you think, than it was, like, say, some of your tougher sales jobs, or is it just what's different about it?
I think it's different. It's harder in ways and easier in others, right? Like the reach is easier, right? So you can get in front of a lot more people with a lot less effort.
Yeah.
But it is harder because when we're talking like this, we can have body language, we can have influx in our voices. When you're going on digital and you're looking at any digital medium, whether it's e-commerce or advertising or whatever, you basically have to portray your messaging through, well, it's an image and text.
Yeah.
And so how do you portray, like us, where we build rapport and we talk and we jam back and forth online digitally? And that's a challenge. And I think that's what companies are struggling with is how do you portray your message? What does your digital message look like versus, let's say, us talking in a grocery store, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's a big evolution. I wouldn't say it's necessarily harder. I think it takes a bit of skill and vernacular to do it and to do it well. And you see some folks that do a really good job. And in human emotions, there's psychology behind it. I'm sure we'll jump into that stuff. But I mean, I think it's a mixed bag. It's either harder at sometimes and easier than others. Just depends.
Yeah. You had said something. You'd said that before, and it was funny because I was looking at someone's website a while ago about how you have to engage people with the actual listing for a product. This is a product-based sales company, and I was like, man, they just missed the mark. It was a typical. They had got the Shopify site, and they were selling an item, and it was a custom item. But it was something that's very similar to, you can buy a million other ones, and it just basically said, okay, here's the material it's made of, and this is the size.
Right.
And I'm like, man, that's like a wet noodle.
Yeah, it's pretty. What happens is people, when they build these listings or these advertisements, they're coming from a marketing mindset, just putting it out there, putting the data out, and that's how it works. Now, you have to stroke curiosity, and a lot of people I've told throughout the years is what, the number one human emotion in internet marketing or digital media is curiosity, right? So curiosity makes you click. The interest level makes you click and engage in whatever that is. So if you can harness curiosity in the way that you message things or that you put them online, it tends to drive a lot more engagement. And of course, conversions come from that and all that good stuff. But yeah, it's kind of funny. There's some dry stuff out there. And I think it's just, we're limited on resources. There aren't that many folks that have been, in e-commerce or in the digital trenches for a long time. And now it's becoming a necessary versus a want I'd like to have.
Yeah. So, obviously being in the e-commerce like you are, how much do you think COVID has affected the acceleration of e-commerce?
Oh, it's insane. I think that we were looking at least in my opinion, we were looking at about a 5 year, kind of
Yeah.
slow hill climb over the next 5 years, really, to get it to where it is now. So it basically, I feel like it took at least many years out of that evolution process, allowing people to evolve. Now it's not even an option. And the problem that we're going to have is there's still only one page of Google that matters, and we're getting more crowded every day, right? So if you think of it like just like a sand timer, you flip it over. Imagine having a beginning where sand was, let's say this amount, and now you have this much sand to go through the same hole and to pass through. And so you're going to have two things are happening with COVID, especially more opportunities for advertising because folks pulled budgets because they tightened the belt. They're, marketing, in financial trouble. And then the other side is that it's going to get crowded, and it's going to get real crowded real fast. So that's going to drive costs up. It's going to drive CPC up, cost per click. It's going to drive the amount of money it takes to advertise online or be visualized, at least first page, second page, whatever. So yeah, those two things are happening, and they're happening quickly. And it's amazing to me how just there's really, and then, the other thing is people have to be empathetic, understanding about COVID, that selling is a challenge too, and how you word things. And, people aren't necessarily buying a lot of times. Certainly something like this. So it's not anything, of course, we've ever seen before. But
good point.
It's an evolution that's happening quicker than we maybe wanted it to.
Yeah, you made a couple of points there that were very interesting that I saw just in the little bit that I missed in it, is that 2 months ago, it's like nobody was doing much Google stuff. I mean, pay-per-click, excuse me.
Yeah.
And now you can see that it's coming back into the market, that people are starting to come back into it because the competition, the cost per click's going up, the conversion's going down a little bit, just on generic stuff that was hitting real hard before. That's interesting.
Google, I think they made adjustments too, and because they're really setting the tone, everything's driven off of them, and then Amazon and other groups peel off of what they're kind of paving that path. And what they did is they really made it affordable in the beginning to stay in the game, I guess, to stay advertising. And then as time has gone on, they've kind of cranked that switch the other direction, where it was really, you could get clicks real cheap when COVID first hit, about the first month in. And then now it's climbing up, and now you're getting a lot of bad, unless you have really targeted stuff, you're getting bad impressions. It's spray and pray model for them and their algorithms, but it's changed. It's changing fast, and it's hard to keep up because it changes all the time. They always are moving that dial. So to do well in e-com or do well online, you have to be changing all the time, trying new things all the time, testing all the time.
And that's where I think, when you look at e-commerce compared to, in-person selling or in-store selling, I mean, it's a completely different thing from the standpoint of it's just what's working now. When you look at the electronic means of communication, that, what was it, 5 years ago or so, that email was still working, and now it's
busy. The email's busy.
Does it work for e-commerce people really anymore, the email, other than to give them specials or new product information?
I mean, you can run Gmail ads. Here's the issue with email. The Spamming Act changed a lot of that. And then what happened beyond that was that the companies were getting in trouble, allowing spamming and allowing crazy lists. And so what happens is, if you have a certain a small open rate on an email campaign through MailChimp or Constant Contact or whatever, if it's too low, they'll automatically shut your list off. And the issue is they look at it as that your audience isn't authentic, or they don't want your content. And you might have an authentic audience, but they're throttling that stuff pretty hard. So it is becoming very hard. Email marketing has become a much tougher deal. The conversion rate expectations are lower. The things that people want to do through email, it was kind of like the funnel, when we went through the funnel world, maybe 4 years ago, ClickFunnels and these types of companies were real big, and everything was about the funnel. Now, funnel methodology has been around forever. It's just they were streamlining landing pages, and it was just a one-page go kind of thing. And now I've seen that that's a lot less. People don't fall for it, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
They're becoming wiser, and they're like, I'm not filling that crap out. I don't want another, email tomorrow from this company or whatever. So they're avoiding the funnel, and people are doing a lot more due diligence. And then social media has its own impacts. So, I mean, the evolution is interesting because you have to constantly be on top of it, because if you're just one step behind it, you're going to lose.
Yeah.
That's the scary thing about who do you work with? How do you work with people? And you got to find the right people, right, that understand and are up to date, let's just say, with the current trends and things going on.
You mentioned social media. Now, do you think, I know there's some brands, like, okay, Nike or somebody like that's going to have they're going to have a brand presence and things like that. But the everyday e-commerce person that's selling B2C, not B2B, I mean, how much does social media really play into what they do?
I think it depends on the company and the brand. Social media can be a B2C. It can even be B2B, right? Depending on your audience you target if you're doing ads. But social media is awareness, right? So kind of a way I look at social media or context it is when you're driving and you pass a billboard that says Coca-Cola and, or Pepsi has a billboard, you ask yourself, does Coca-Cola need to spend that $20,000 a month on that one billboard? Everyone knows what Coca-Cola is. They're in every store you're into. My whole point is it's just consistent awareness. It's continually in front of you. It's subconsciously burying that in to where when you're going to go pick up a drink, you might think Coca-Cola product over Pepsi product or whatever. So it's consistency. And the branding, brand, with social media, when you're trying to position a brand, we always have to kind of remember a brand isn't like a logo, a picture, or like some people might assume. A brand is the feeling that you have when you interact with that product or service. And that came from Dwayne Knapp, a world-renowned brand guy, kind of old school dude, but he's awesome. And what he is his vision idea, and what makes a lot of sense is, how did I feel consuming that drink, or, having that engagement or interaction with a product or service or this company. And that's the brand. That's what you have to build into your culture, and you have to build into your digital medium. You have to attach personality to your product or your brand. Otherwise, it's just flat. It's like a flat beer or something. It doesn't taste very good.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I mean, you look at some of these brands that are hammering the Facebook or hammering Instagram or hammering TikTok. It doesn't matter what it is. Some of these people really, they have some pretty elaborate campaigns that they're using.
I feel really bad too. Like, a lot of the stuff out there is garbage. It's just a ton of money grabbing, desperation. So it's basically people running ads, and they're just getting folks who are desperate that want to, hey, you can be, millionaire mindset or millionaire this or whatever, and for $300 pay for this course, and it's all bullshit. It's never actually come to fruition. It's all it's like a Tic Tac. The taste is going to wear off quickly, or an aspirin, and you're going to have a headache in a short amount of time. The reality is there's a lot of riffraff on social media because it's cheap to advertise there. I mean, geez, Facebook ads, cheap for impressions. The amount of impressions and engagements you can get from Facebook, it's insane compared to Google. And especially like LinkedIn, it's even tougher. It's like $4 a click on LinkedIn, $6 a click sometimes. On Facebook, I can get an engagement for 5 cents. So you get a lot of folks that aren't legit that can push out a lot of stuff for not very much money, and they get, and then essentially they take advantage of that opportunity. Social media is a interesting thing with COVID, because people are spending more time on social media than they were before.
Oh God,
out of work or on furlough or whatever. They're spending a lot of time on social media, and they're looking at stuff, and they're but it's like anything, they're thinking about it today, forgetting about it tomorrow. And I think the consistency is important, and making sure your messaging is consistent throughout your platforms, whatever that platform may be.
Yeah. I get writing a couple of notes here because I got some additional questions, because it's it really is interesting when you look at you know how just in the few years that we've been messing around with e-commerce, and it's figuratively messing around, because we've actually had a fair amount of work.
Not very many results have happened. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, a lot of things.
Contrary, actually.
Yeah, a lot of growth, a lot of things, but the interesting thing that I see is, like, when you talk about things like influencer marketing, how big was that a couple of years ago, and then it just went to hell. It really.
Everybody should have a podcast. Everybody should have a blog. It was blogs originally, right?
Yeah.
Everyone needed a blog.
Yeah.
Now a blog, you're right.
Yeah.
Then the blog thing faded, and then it was like, hey, blog is SEO, and that isn't as true. It definitely helps. Some people are magicians at content, and they put out a lot of content, but it really comes down to engagement. All the algorithms are based off engagement more than anything. So the more engagement, the more reach. It's like the richer get richer, poorer get poorer. That's the same psychology around. The higher the engagement, the more continual engagement. So once you get that snowball rolling and you start getting that stuff, it's just going to compound on itself. The algorithms like it, so they put it up front and center, and that's hard to do. So a big misnomer with anything content related is it takes a long time. I don't care how good someone is at SEO, how good they are at content, what they put out, all that stuff. It takes time to build on it. It takes time to build engagement. This from LinkedIn. This from companies we work with with Facebook and different groups, and it takes time, and there's no shortcut. And a lot of times people think, hey, I start posting blog articles, I'm going to see stuff. And it kind of like what Gary Vaynerchuk used to say was like, he used to do videos with 3 people following. So I remember 3 people were following me 10 years ago. 10 years this guy's been doing this stuff. And now he's big. Damn, how many people are going to be doing it for 10 years every day consistently? And the answer is very, very few. Hence why there's not very many that have that following, that reach.
Yeah. You have a lot of people that came out, that people that, oh, the superstar, and look at him, Gary Vee is a good example of it.
Yeah.
His ass to do what he's doing.
Well, they just look at it like it happened yesterday. Yeah. Because they heard about him finally. And it's like, it's kind of like when people, ask about our sales history, sales career, and they're like, how did you learn all this? I'm like, you learn it from just sucking all the time and doing a really bad job consistently. And then learning that, hey, I want to do that crappy job, I want to make it a little bit better. Yeah. And you evolve, and but it takes time. There is no shortcut. And in social media, digital, e-com, anything online, it takes a long time to build a reputation. Obviously, it takes no time to kill one, but there's no get-rich-quick schemes. It takes time. It takes consistency, and of course, messaging has to be right.
Yeah. That's what I found out is well, as we started, I see these people on LinkedIn now that there's still people coaching on LinkedIn going, hey, I made $100,000 on LinkedIn coaching. And I was like, I tell people now, I said, shit, we spammed, a few $100,000 worth of it and didn't even know what the hell we were doing. What are you doing out there bragging about $100,000 in it?
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it is.
I'll see people that'll be like, I see ads on Facebook, and they're like, took my $5,000 e-com business to $150,000 a month. I'm like, I mean, we went from 11 million to 28 million. It's a lot, but I think it's that's where that desperation and that type of advertising medium comes in. Is people take advantage of that, and it seems like a big deal. But with LinkedIn, like you've seen, there used to be the lion thing. This is years ago. Like this had to have been 8 years.
A long time ago that LinkedIn Open Networker started. Yeah.
And so Lion was LinkedIn Open Networker, right? Everyone had, if you had Lion on your thing, it was Open Network. So now LinkedIn's kind of gone back to that a little bit.
It has.
Follow me, fall back, follow, this kind of stuff. And it's good. It's good to build a network you know, and a following, but the issue is how do you then monetize that network or following? How do you then make that network or following?
Yeah.
You're one of 30,000 people that they follow or that they're engaged with. So how do you stand out? And that becomes the challenging part of it.
But again, I mean, you look at it, to stand out on LinkedIn, you have to be there. You have to put in the time. You have to, it is. It's when especially now.
Comment a lot, huh,
Damon? What's that?
You got to comment a lot.
Yeah, you got to comment a lot. It takes a lot of time. It's like you are spending and oftentimes, honestly, one person can't do it for a single account. And most people don't realize that. If you look at Gary V's not writing it. He's not posting his stuff. I can guarantee you he's not posting his stuff.
Many other helpers helping him.
Yeah. I mean, because it's at that level that, you know, if you're going to be a world class.
You know, back when it was always like, hey, post twice a day, in, you know, Facebook. I mean, now people are posting every 20 minutes.
Wow.
What's the deal? The deal is it's scrolling. It's scrolling addiction. It's engagement addiction. So people are just, something new, refresh, something new, refresh, something new. So it's like the dopamine dump that folks are getting off social media and off of this internet game, and they can't help it. It like they need, if they don't see a post for a whole day, they're like, it's crazy how you have to feed that monster constantly for the user base.
Yeah,
it's unreal. I mean, I worry that it's either going to go out of control and it's going to be too much, or it's going to go all the way the other direction and people are just going to share.
Yeah.
To be thinking about, people are starting to leave Facebook, and users are getting tired of what they're seeing constantly.
Yeah.
You know, and the remarketing is getting aggressive. You know, remarketing is like becoming. And what I mean by remarketing, so that folks can understand, is like if you think about something and it shows up in your timeline, if you talk to your spouse or your friend about a product or service and it shows up in your timeline, you know, that creepy stuff that they're listening, that's real. I mean, that's all remarketing. That's what we call remarketing. And a lot of folks don't realize, wow, I was just talking about the dog shelter, or I was talking about my kid's soccer, and now I have a soccer ad for buying soccer balls.
Yeah.
Well, how did they know? I didn't even type anything. I didn't search anything. It's like, well, they're listening, and voice search is something that is big. And folks aren't spending a lot of time on voice, and they should. You know, Alexa search, how you talk and the way that you would speak a command is different than typing a command. So making sure that those things are right when you're doing digital is important as well. I mean, a lot of times people don't think about that. They don't think about that stuff because it's just a user, it's interaction that's changing. But I might say, you know, find a grocery store near me. I'm not typing that in typically. Right? I might type in grocery store. And Google local listings or whatever will pop that up. Versus find a grocery store near me, Alexa, or hey Alexa, I need, you know, toilet paper. I don't know, whatever. Search someone might do, but it's very different how you would write that and then how you would speak it, right? You know, that's why we don't write how we speak, because there'd be a lot of ums and I don't know, and maybe in there. People, it would look like you have poor English, but in fact you're just writing what it speaks. It's different.
It's pretty crazy because it is, you know, the voice is added a different aspect to it, you know, and when you read some of that stuff, it was been a while ago now. I was reading something about the voice and then something about question and answer stuff on Google. I mean, there is just so much when you think about if I'm going to sell the best whatever, to really digitally get everything you need to sell a product the best you can. There's just so many aspects to it.
There's a lot of aspects, and you know, I always go back just keep stay to the basics, you know, and stay focused on what your core experience is and when dealing with the product, and go back to, like, you know, why would someone consume that, and stop selling it, let's say, just willy-nilly, and just let's think about it from a you know, you don't put a water bottle ad up and say drink this because you need to be hydrated, right? You know, a lot of people are like, well, duh, right? That's obvious. Well, no, you got to spin it. You have to make it intriguing. Like, Remember on a hot day, pounding that ice cold water. There's a different mental visual that happens when people are scrolling social media or on any type of digital or experiencing ads. Is you have to touch into that human emotion and that curiosity in order to create the engagement. And you've seen it with your LinkedIn posts. You've seen it, and it's cross-platform world. It's all the same. It's just slight tweaks, slight adjustments that will make a big difference.
Yeah. Oh, it is. It is. And when you say it, you can read text, two different texts side by side to say the same thing with a few word changes, and man, it's a different feeling that you get with it.
And the tone, right? I mean, a lot of times it's like, man, this ad seems stiff, and they might have been writing it and it didn't seem that way when they were putting it together.
Mm-hmm.
Tone in text is huge. It's like email, right? When we get emails that are like, man, that guy's an a-hole because he wrote, my boss is an a-hole because he wrote me this email, and it's because we're judging text and tone. It's text message, same thing. The issue is thinking back, think about that stuff. That's a lot of times is people don't stop and think from a user standpoint or from a consumer standpoint how that's going to sell and sound. They just look at it from their perspective. Hey, this is really good because I know it's good because it's good like this. Well, how do they know it's good like that? Well, let's look at their perspective, and then let's model our text and our descriptions and our all those types of things that go into digital, and let's tweak it, and that way that's going to help you establish a trust, curiosity, of course, engagement, but trust is the second piece, to the puzzle. And once people trust you, and then that's the beginning of the relationship. Don't spoil it by spamming them.
You
won't ruin that.
Well, and that's the one thing I remember when we were working together before. You and emails and discount emails, it was like the plague, man. Don't send out a discount email. Don't just discount again. And man, it seems like that's what everybody does now. You get an email from somebody, it's because there's the biggest discount ever. That's what they're selling. It's not that they're, I did see, and admittedly, I probably get 20 of these a day from different places because you sign up to see what they're sending, right? And it was like, I saw one that was actually a new product introduction. It wasn't a discount. I was like one out of a gazillion anymore.
Yeah. The discount thing is because it's easy, right? Path of least resistance, just easy to do. It's like, hey, let's just, let's get some sales. Let's take 20% off. So it's easy. It's not necessarily warranted, but it's easy. A good example of a discount brand that's went from giant to not even talked about is Groupon, right?
Yeah.
So Groupon and social. What was the other one? I'm blanking right now. Social something. Yeah. It was like a Groupon, but it was about like social things you do with your friends, like kayaking or whatever. Gosh, I can't remember. I can't blanking. But let's just say Groupon as an example. Groupon was like discount fever, and everyone loved it but the seller, right? Me, let's say I'm selling to Groupon as a salon, so I'm giving Groupon a steep discount so that they can bring me a large volume, right? The problem is Groupon kept going harder and harder and harder, and eventually whittled away all the margin that a company would have to participate. So they stopped participating. Well, when you don't have any more opportunities to sell, their business goes away. Amazon has suffered the same fate in marketplace, where they've slowly been going after their sellers and asking for margin. And eventually the sellers are like, well, we can't sell here anymore. We don't make money. We're not profitable. And so you're having an exodus. And that's why they're buying more products and they're white labeling more products and they're selling more products themselves, is because their marketplace folks aren't happy, and the fees and everything that's climbing. Discounting and discount brands, you got to keep those in discount businesses. Like, you would see that at a Marshall's or a Ross or a stock maybe, but you go to Nordstrom, you're gonna expect that? No, probably not.
And it's always been interesting to me too, the way that for me, the whole Amazon thing has always been a kind of a mystery. Is I understand why people do it. They spend. I mean, there's just so much damn traffic on Amazon looking for
Yeah,
every single
it's
product.
easy.
You
They made
can't
it a good experience.
you can't not do it, right? If you got a
It's
product that
not.
you sell. And but the thing that really sucks is you can get in there and I can have the best whatever I'm selling on Amazon, and they'll if your product gets too popular, they'll buy it themselves and sell against you.
They poach it. They
Yeah,
poach it.
and things like that happen, and you can't build a business on that. You can have a good business because of that's a part of it.
It can help. It's like think of it like it's a helper. Look at all the companies that we've worked with over the years, and how many were we like, they're an Amazon seller.
Yeah, not many.
Now, they usually Amazon is a part of the business.
Yeah, it's always a
It's a
part.
segment in that they're selling on Amazon. And what happened was it was a lot better. I would say it was better, and now it's pretty rough. It's pretty Wild West in a lot of aspects. But the issue with that is people are fearful to go through Vendor Central and through those things to end up having their stuff sold and then steal it, and essentially if you're a distributor through Amazon and you're spending all this money on, and not only are you spending money on the fees, you're having to pay for advertising.
Yeah.
Amazon's smart. They did a really good job because they made everything about the consumer and they made none of it about the business.
Yeah.
So all that mattered was the experience. Hey, consumers happy, we're selling. So it's all good. And that's how they looked at it. They put the consumer first. The problem is that has come off the back of small business and it's not sustainable.
Yeah.
We'll see a big change probably in the next, with I don't know with COVID what's happened, but we'll see more change there. I think they're going to have to peel back some of that fees in order to keep people in the game. I don't think people can afford or are going to be able to afford it.
Well, it's one of those things though. It's almost like when you look at that and you're sitting there with your business and 75% of your business is through there, you're going to suffer through it. That's the thing. Is some of these people have built their business.
That's the thing. And even if it's not profitable, right? We've seen that enough times where people are doing it and they're not making money, but they have 5 million revenue there or 10 million, and it's like, well, that's 10 million revenue. Well, it's not 10 million revenue when you don't make any money.
Yeah.
Or don't make any profit. And the issue with it is the fees. You're basically paying what you would pay at Walmart to be like in store. I mean, that's the fee level that things are done. If you pull out the advertising spend that you're spending, if you pull out FBA and the storage fees, and you do all these things and you run the numbers like like traditional businesses would, you would see that it's like, wow, this is 55 points here.
Yeah.
And some people have good margin products, mostly Chinese products, products from China or overseas, because they just can't procure them here for that cost. So the U.S. based products are going to be a lot more expensive in order for them to compete.
Yeah.
Which is, we're seeing that change quickly as well.
So do you think that over the last, say, 3 or 4 or 5 years, now when you look at Amazon, people used to buy on Amazon years ago because they trusted the product, the source, the treatment you're going to get. Do you think now people, since Amazon really has ushered e-commerce in the mainstream, that they're more comfortable going to Jeff's site and buying Jeff's products straight off of his site?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of both. It's funny, all the stores on Amazon aren't typically the brand names or the brand companies they're coming from. So like, Jeff's products, I have my own products, my own store might be jeffsproducts.com, but I sell on Amazon as ABC product, right? So a lot of times there isn't the relevance or there's not the crossover. And the reason that people do that is, one, the store name might be taken in on the Amazon store side. But the other thing is also you don't want to cannibalize your own market. So if you're ABC store, if it's like Walmart, if Walmart's selling on their website and selling through Amazon as Walmart, like they're going to cannibalize their sales because someone's just going to go wherever it's more it's cheaper, or it's easier to obtain. And then the other thing is Prime is if you are Prime today, you have to be in FBA. And that means they're warehousing that product.
Yeah.
And that's a whole different, you're taking even a bigger margin there. But I do think that I'm seeing that people are leaving the big ones and going to the boutique straight. I've seen a lot more Instagram stores from boutique shops. I mean, there's 2 shops in Seattle. One, is like a clothing boutique, and they kill it on Instagram. And they post it and they say DM, us for pricing, or here's the price, DM to buy it. And people are DMing and they're Venmoing and they're whatever, doing their payment portal right there, bam, and it's done. And they're doing more revenue through Instagram and Insta stories and Instagram advertising than they will ever do on Amazon, because the visibility is different. And then they get that core audience, and that core audience is constantly looking at their feed, right?
Yeah.
And they're seeing all the new stuff that they get. So for boutiques and for small businesses, Instagram and these cult followings is hugely successful. Amazon could be a very dangerous path to go down, depending on the business. And I think you got to find, no matter what your business is, you got to find where you fit the most. And the only way to know that is by trying it all and testing it all and experiencing what's going to work, because no one really knows. We've had products sell really well on Facebook, and then we've had products that don't sell on Facebook. Like no one buys them. Doesn't matter how much advertising you do. And then there's products that you get tons of engagement through Google Ads or LinkedIn that don't do well on social media, or vice versa. So I think it's like, I like to fish. So I look at it like fishing. You have to fish all the layers in order to see where the fish are biting. Mm-hmm. And these ideologies and thought processes are the way that I think about it, is what tends to be how we can pinpoint something quickly, and then we can have success with it. Because we're testing at all those different levels.
Yeah. I mean, that's, I think, what a lot of people get stuck on, is they're going to go, okay, somebody in a business has SEO skills. So they're going to say, oh, SEO skills, SEO is the way to go. SEO is the way to go. And, well, we've run into it with people we work with in the past, SEO is great. And then the algorithm changes and you dive. You tank,
Takes a long time.
Yeah.
It takes a long time. And people don't realize that. It takes months. And then that's just to get ranked. And then, I'm saying, to do well, I mean, you look at people that are like Gary Vee. He's, if you look at time on site is one of the ways they rank things, meaning how long the website's been live. Mm-hmm. He's 10 years. A lot of these guys, 10 years. They've been online for 10 years.
Yeah.
So of course they're trusted. And Google's putting people who they, are trusted up front. They don't just put willy-nilly stuff. Hence like the secure HTTPS, the S is secure. You can't really rank anymore with just HTTP. It's pretty rough. Google kills you. Mobile friendly, ADA compliant now is a big thing, being compliant for visually impaired. Stuff like that. What SSL certificate you're carrying. But the time on site, I'd say by site, I mean time online.
Yeah.
Is a big weight.
How long you actually have had your domain with a website on it.
Yeah, like how long has Exit Your Way been up? And the longer it's been up, the more likely you're going to get organically ranked, and you're going to have SEO improvements as long as you're updating your website, continually moving it forward to what's important now. What happens is people just they let them go because it's not important. They're busy running their company, and they let their website get out of date, and it costs them twice as much to update it. If you're consistently staying up to date with these things, it's like working out or anything.
Yeah.
You don't work out for a while, you're going to be tired the first day you go back in. Well, if you don't update your website, you're going to really hate the cost when you have to redo the whole entire thing. Because it's like having this phone, right? Like a Google phone, right? Well, this is good for now, but what happens when in a year? It's trash, right? Because they're going to have it's iPhone. They're going to have the next thing.
Yeah.
If you had a phone from 5 years ago, I would wonder if it would even work.
Yeah.
I
don't think so.
It's just planned obsolescence. It's a part of the game. So the evolution of the website world is the same. Plugins, used to be everybody had plugins. Now it's less plugins, the better.
Yeah.
Because you're worried about data breaches, like things that that were really good now are like, no, don't do that, because you have 500 more ways data breaches are going to happen.
Yeah.
Cyber attacks, ransomware, whatever. You got to be thinking about being ahead of what the change is. Walmart is a huge, I'm going to use them as an example. 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago, Walmart made a huge change to their website. And it was, when they got their new e-com CEO, can't remember his name off the top of my head. But anyways, they put their whole website mobile friendly. It looked like a mobile interface on the desktop version.
Yeah.
Weird. It was weird to navigate on a desktop version because not everyone was just doing the mobile. Yeah. But holy moly, did that pay off? That's very forward thinking. So if they were making that move, they got all the money. They're doing all the research. They're spending all the time. You can look at these big companies and you can take notes. You can learn from them because they're the ones that are going to exhaust resources to stay in the front of it. And you're just a little business or a middle-sized business. You can't compete. This Walmart we're talking about, this Amazon we're talking about, they're going to eat you. They spend more in ads a month than you make in 10 years of revenue.
Yeah.
So how do we beat them or compete with them? Well, we got to pay attention to what they're doing.
Yeah.
And a lot of folks just, you got to stay ahead of it. And of course, having good resources is hard to find. But that's why people like us exist, I guess.
Yeah. So, yeah. Well, it's funny you said that about websites, because I was just on with a client before this, and we were going through their website, and it was like, God, our website looks so tired. And I said, yeah, let's look at this website. It was a competitor's website. They knew one of the competitors in the business, and it was $50,000 they spent on their website. And they're like, the website was nice. And they were like, well, $50,000 is a lot of money. I said, well, when you figure that if you're going to completely do a website from the beginning, and you're going to pay somebody in the US to take every photo, write every word, and do it, that's probably not that bad a deal. But but I said, you can get a $50,000 website over a year of working on it too. If you look at the past, make those changes.
Ways to do it, absolutely.
Get the technical people in to help when you need to help, and do the technical stuff. And we really started looking at it, and you're so right with those websites. It's an evolving thing. Even when people used to write, talk about blog posts to help you sell. Well, shit, I don't think a blog post sold hardly anything for anybody other than the blog writer if you're trying to get an email list or something like that. But what it does is the blog, adding these different blogs about relevant topics helps in your SEO and helps to rank you higher in the SEO, because now I have ancillary products that builds around. If I'm talking about automobiles and I've got a million different blog posts about a million different kind of Ferraris, and I'm a Ferrari website, and I talk about all this stuff, and I talk about Ferrari, and you think about SEO structure and all that. That's what blogs do now.
Yeah, exactly. They're relevant content, right?
Yeah.
It's creating that consistency of relevant content. And what happens is the worst thing that people can do is start a blog and not maintain it.
Yeah.
That's fatal, right? I mean, because people will go to your blog and it says last post was 4 months ago.
Yeah.
They're never coming back. Never.
Yeah.
And so you lose them. So you either do it or you don't.
Yeah.
You either consistent or take it off. It isn't even worth it. It's going to hurt you more unless you're consistent. And blogs are cool. What we're doing, like this kind of stuff that we're doing here, this wasn't something that was really done a lot, years ago. And this is great blog content. This would make for a good blog if we're talking about digital media and e-commerce and stuff. But it doesn't necessarily have to be a big write-up. It could be a video. It could be pictures, Instagram post style blog. But anything that helps the consistency is going to help, because people are going to be coming back and seeing if it's been updated.
Yeah.
And
well, it's like now, I mean, you hit a lot on it, and why I started doing live streaming, why I started doing YouTube stuff is because I don't write worth a damn. I mean, I don't. It's hard to do. But sitting and bullshitting with somebody like this is fairly easy for us to do. When you start to go down some topics, I'm taking some notes, but we're talking about some relevant things for people, And then when you look at this, and we're going to have whatever it ends up being, 40 minutes or whatever of video time. If somebody's smart about it, they'll send that off to an editor and they'll say, break this up, take out 4 or 5 little snippets of good stuff. Now I just turned a 40-minute video into, a half a dozen different pieces of content that I can share however I want. I can make it onto my blog post on my website, which we do. We have the roundtable blog. You can go through and see all the stuff that we've got on there. And now, I got a blog that I think it's been a month and a half since I've written a blog post.
Yeah.
But I've got 6 videos since.
Yeah, and then you got the, you can take a sentence out of the conversation and use that as a title, like something that someone says without even thinking subconsciously. Oh, that's a powerful statement. Let's use that to portray what we're talking about here. And it's hard to do. And I think a lot of times we have to go back to the fact that, like, this is hard to do. And it's very hard to do consistently. It's hard to do, period. And I don't care what anyone says, I bust out a video a day. Bullshit. It's hard to do. It is hard to be in the mood. It's hard to be in the mindset. It's hard to be in the right location. You know, everyone's so judgy, about what people are putting out. And I think that the why this is successful and why I think this type of format is good is because people can see we're just human. Yeah. And we're just talking. And we're talking about things that we think and things that are challenging us and things that are challenging the world in this subject matter.
Yeah.
It will help a lot. Like, and Gary Vee, not to, be pumping him up or anything because he doesn't need it, but he just talks. Yeah. And that's why people like him, because he's just not fancy. He just puts out a video of him in the car talking to whoever. He does his little talks in his office in New York and da-da-da-da-da. Yep. It can be relevant, right? It feels relevant. Like, okay, he's a normal guy. He's not doing some Primpton Press media campaign with pretty flashy intros and outros and stuff like this. Yeah. Making it fluffy. Like, people don't want that. I think people just want good information that they can run with and stop baiting people, You can learn this from me if for free, but not really for free. You have to sign up, and then from there you gotta do a couple blood samples, maybe firstborn child, and then we'll give you whatever it is you're looking for. Oh man, I think that's poor. That's poor.
It is. It really blows because there's 90% of the people out there just trying to get it done, get something happening, right? And you got a lot of people that are taking advantage of it, and not really. I mean, paying for good value is fine. But paying for marginal stuff is really, that just pisses me off.
Yeah, that's buyer's remorse right there. You just get angry. You just want to punch somebody.
Yeah.
I mean, but the sad thing is the real, the real marketers, the real skilled people, they're not advertising it. They're not spending their time doing that. Yeah. They are doing the work. They are working with companies. They're busy. Yeah. And if you have time to post crap all day, how are you helping your clients at all?
Yeah. Yeah.
You just, you got to look at things as what they are. And a lot of it's an Instagram filter. And a lot of it is fake. And a lot of it's bullshit. And you have to find real resources like we've been talking about for a long time. Hey, guess what? We're just real guys giving real results. There's no fluff. We're not making up stories. We're not putting out these shady titles and headlines and skipping everything. No. We work hard. We're consistent, we're honest, and we're truthful, and let the work speak for itself. Yeah. You don't have to tell people how great you are when you're great. You know what I mean? Yeah. And you don't see Michael Jordan talking about how great he is all the time. He just played the game, and obviously people know his performance speaks for itself. He doesn't have to say he's great. He already he's proven that. So I feel like I worry about people right now, especially social media. I worry about them getting taken advantage of and having getting ripped off. It just seems like it's getting dirtier and dirtier. And ethically, it's fading.
Yeah, it just blows. So one thing that came up this last week that I was going to ask you about, Facebook shopping. Have you looked at that yet?
That's new. Yeah. So what they're doing is they're simply just creating an Amazon on Facebook. They're creating a marketplace.
That's
and now you can go to I think it's Shop. It's just called Shop, right? I think. I'm almost positive that's what it is. But
Yeah.
you can just go to shop and you can just browse products people selling on Marketplace. So all they're doing is like a Google shopping.
Yeah.
So when you Google like hair dryer and then
Yeah.
you go shopping, you have all these listings of hair dryers. So now you can do that in Marketplace. And what they're doing is they're aggregating the content from all the stores, all the Facebook stores. So they're taking like, hey, I have a salon, I'm posting my hair dryer.
Yeah.
Boom. Now I submit it like in like a Google Shopping, but for Facebook now, and then they're pulling that data off search, and they're doing it. It's very similar. They've taken kind of a hybrid Amazon / Google approach,
Yeah.
and they've created their own thing. I think it's very opportunistic for small businesses. I think they can take a lot of advantage of that, and they can advertise to it, and for Facebook, it's just like creating
another revenue stream.
It's like creating a mini Amazon, segment of your business. But what's very interesting is because Facebook social media, the way they're going to serve those ads and the way they serve it is different than Amazon, because it's going to go off of your interests and the things that you're following and the types of groups and people you follow and what the types of pages you like.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be interested to see how it evolves and if they keep it around, because right now it's infancy. So
they're just playing with it now. But I was like, man, it could be huge or it could be a total flop.
I don't know, it could be cumbersome. I know the listings is kind of cumbersome. You can't really already, EDI feed kind of thing, but I'm sure maybe you can. I haven't uploaded a bunch to Facebook Marketplace recently, so I'm not 100% certain, but I do know that for small business, like the Instagram thing and in some of these ways, it's a huge opportunity.
I would think so with the targeting, like you can get off your ads on there, and they got to be able to tie that together with the products better than you can on Google.
It's a big change for them, but they're smart. They're opportunistic.
Yeah.
And, they're thinking about, hey, well, we've got all these people. How do we sell to them?
Yeah.
And we've got people that are making marketplace sales, and they have a Craigslist type of thing. Like you can sell stuff on Marketplace.
Yeah.
Craigslist. And I even think that Marketplace is almost better than Craigslist now, and which is crazy. I mean, I've sold many things off Marketplace already in the last couple months, and I never had thought before, hey, I should sell this, this old, whatever, these old tires on Craigslist. Marketplace is like, boom, 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 done. And then you get instant messages. And so there's a trust factor, right? You can see, hey, Damon and Jeff we're real people. He doesn't look like a shady character from Craigslist.
Yeah.
He's actually got what he said. And so it's a trust. It's more trusting. It's real. And people feel safer because
the geographical thing. As stupid as it seems, I got firewood the other day off of Facebook.
That's a great idea.
Because I was like, fireplace. I just looked, and this guy's 3 minutes from my house. I don't care what it costs. I'm going to get it 3 minutes from my house. I'm not driving 20 miles.
Exactly. That's cheap. It's cheap. You're not spending $5 a bundle.
Yeah.
Like you can get a whole quart.
Yeah, exactly. I filled up the back of the truck.
That's what you need. So I think for some things it's awesome. Now, why couldn't you do that for your product or service in your business? You can. Yeah. You should. Yeah. But it takes time. And a lot of folks, they're attending shop and stuff. But I think I think people are going to evolve here and they're changing. If they don't, unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of folks, fade away. And that's the sad part of business is it's not pretty.
Yep. Well, Jeff, it's been cool. I was just looking at the clock. I mean, we're at 3:53. I usually try to keep. Actually, I'm scheduled for an hour on some of the platforms, but it doesn't really matter because
it's all good. That seems like a good.
But the thing it's really cool to get on here and talk, and we'll have to come back again and we'll talk about some specific stuff. I mean, because it's interesting and get into stuff. Get into your the new stuff you're rocking on. The University of Ecom. That's a cool deal. And then too, you're just moving into Denver. Gonna start going into that market.
It's cool to be somewhere that's not hot like Texas and not as flat as the Midwest. So I like the mountains. I'm excited to see what Denver has to offer. It's a great city. It's just a good vibe overall. So we're pretty pumped on it.
Yeah.
A lot of opportunities here for everybody. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think we should get into the weeds a little bit more on some stuff. And,
Yeah,
but it's good to just be able to jam and talk.
Well, and I always tell everybody that they get on with me, don't expect a whole lot of structure, because we're just going to talk. That's what we do. And you know,
some of the best stuff comes from that.
Yeah, and that's the thing that we try to do, and on a roundtable is really just let people talk, because most of us have so much knowledge rattling around in our head that when you're talking to somebody like you, when you're talking to somebody that's getting into e-commerce or been in it a while, not like you, I mean, stuff that you wake up knowing, just knowing, it's just like, oh yeah, I put my pants on in the morning,
second nature.
What's that? I don't even know what you're talking about, and that's really what we're trying to share when we talk for things, and just
it's cool. And you forget the stuff that you have in your head.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, I forgot about that. Now this made me think about it.
Yeah.
A lot. These aren't always poised questions. We don't get these from clients all the time.
Yeah.
We don't get like these kind of, what about this new marketplace? Should we explore that? No, we should be driving that to our clients. Not the other way around. So, it's nice to think about things in a different capacity. I think that helps everybody. Helps us be better for our clients, but and students, but it also helps the business owner get more value.
Yeah.
What they're doing. So I'm grateful. Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff. Well, thanks a lot again, Jeffrey Graham, with me here today on the Exit Your Way Business Roundtable. I'll have his information in the comments. If you're on Facebook, hey, thanks for watching us live on Facebook. I probably slipped up a few bad words in there, but sorry about that. If you're on YouTube, check out our channel. We've got a lot of other stuff on there. But Jeff, thanks a lot. And
thank you.
We'll be back again soon.
Appreciate it.
You bet, man. Boom.